Welcome friends! Today we are going to develop a social media backend application with Node.JS and Express. So if you found that interesting, let's go. So let's make here a backend folder. Then let's open the terminal, cd into the backend, and npm init-y to initialize our backend application. We need to write this command when we do it. So click enter, and then the next step is to install our dependencies. So npm I express, mongoose, nodemon, then JSON web token, .env, and bcrypt. Those will be our dependencies, and I will explain them one by one when we actually use them. So click enter, and they're going to be installed soon. So while they're installing, I suggest to you that we make the index.js. This will be our main file in which we import everything, and this is it. Okay, then express is equal to require express, then const.env is equal to require.env.config, and I told you. So .env is used for environmental variables. Environmental variables are used for storing secretive information such as your JWT secret, which is from the JSON web token. As you see, this works with secret. So when we have a secret, we put it in a .env file, and in order to use the environmental variables, we need to have .env installed and call this method. Then the next thing that we should import is actually Mongoose, which is for our database. So Mongoose will help us connect to our database. And lastly, we initialize here our Express application. So here we need to type the connect.db and connect server. So I suggest to you that we first connect to a database, then to the server, and then we're going to continue with the application. So open the Brave browser, and I'm going to log in just now. Okay, so I have been logged in. Let's click here in projects. You click projects, new demo, social media API 1. This will be the name of our project. So after this, we click on next, create project. While it's loading, we're going to here, yes, build a database, create cluster, and here you type your username and password for that specific database. So here I'm going to have this as username and the same for password. So then you click here create user, the IP address. You can click here at my current IP address. I'm going to type this IP address, which is for every single computer have access. That's what this 40 means. You click here on not entry, finish and close. And lastly here on connect, and you see this, the second row, connect your application. You click it, and here you copy this link here, and we are ready with Mongoose, with MongoDB actually, not Mongoose. And here, let's go here to mongoose.connect, and here, as I told you, we can paste this link, but this is secretive information. If someone has access to this link, he can do whatever he wants in our database. And of course, this is something that you should avoid at all costs. So I told you about the secretive information and environmental variables. So let's go here to the backend, .env, and here mongo_url, and here I'm going to paste my link. So I'm going to copy here the username and paste it to the password, because my username and password is the same for that database. So this is for our Mongo URL environmental variable. So here let's type process lowercase, so process.env.mongo_url. This is how you type environmental variables. You precede them with process.env and then another dot, and then the name of the variable. And then here a callback function, which will run if it's a success. So if it's a success, we're going to run this function with the console log. DB is connected successfully. Okay, and here for the server, we're going to connect on port 5000, and usually it's a convention to put the port number here into the .env. So here again port, and here the number 5000. So app.listen process.env.port, and then a callback function again if the server has been connected successfully. So server is connected successfully. Okay, let's start our server. So open a new terminal, cd backend, and then type npx nodemon and click enter. So let's see. You see server is connected successfully and DB is connected successfully. Okay, so we are ready with this part. Then let's make our folder structure. So models, then controllers, oops, with double L of course, so here double L, and lastly middlewares. So for our models here we're going to put the schemas of our documents, collections actually, not documents. Then middlewares we're going to put here a middleware function, and controllers here of course we're going to put our controller functions. So usually I always start, and not only me but a lot of people, with the models. So let's start with the models, shall we? Okay, so user.js, and here const mongoose is equal to require mongoose, then const user schema is equal to new mongoose.schema, and here we're going to type the fields that we want our user schema to have. So of course every single user have a username, and the username is usually a string. Then we need to have a required to true. This means that you cannot create a user schema without a username. It just doesn't work. You're going to get an error, and that's what requires true means. Then lastly here unique to true. This means that every single username in our user document must have a different name, so they must be unique. Then email, the email is going to have here the same properties, so I'm just going to copy them and paste them. It is again a type of a string. You must provide an email and it must be unique. You know, we cannot have two same accounts with the same email. It does not work. I don't think there is an application that I know that have this feature, that you can create two accounts with the same email. It doesn't work like this. Okay, then password is going to be here a type of a string, required of true, and here a minimum of 6. So we want our password to be at least 6 characters long. Then we're going to have two more fields, so following, which is going to be a type of a string. So this will be the people that we follow. So of course initially we will not follow anyone, so default is going to be an empty array, and this means that it is going to be an array of strings. This is what this means, an array of strings. So what will each string represent? It is going to represent the user ID, so you know. Then here we're going to have followers. This will be the people that follow us. So if you don't get confused, so to not get confused actually, followings is people that we follow, that we have interest, and followers are people that follow us. So that's the difference. Then we're going to have here again a type of the string, and lastly default is of course going to be an empty array. And here you see here the parentheses. So before this parentheses I'm going to provide here an object with the timestamps set to true. This means that when we create a document from the user collection, he will have automatically when it was created and when it was last updated. So this is an important metadata that we can use later. And here module.exports mongoose.model user schema. So this means that our collection is going to be called user, and it is going to have here the structure of the user schema, and each instance of our user collection is called document. So if I can give you a very good analogy, so you know classes in JavaScript. A class has instances, and collections have documents. So class instance, document, collection. This is basically more or less the same thing. Okay, so this for our user module. The next module that we should write is the post. So here post.js, and let's start. So const mongoose is equal to require mongoose. Then const post schema is equal to new mongoose.schema. So you see here I named them as here they are the same as the file name. So here post and here post, and then on the right side here we have schema. This is the convention. So usually you write for your schema name the file name and then schema. Okay, so title is going to be here a type of a string, required is going to be here of true, and minimum is going to be of 4 characters. Then we're going to have description. Of course every single post have a title and a description, and here type is going to be of a string. Oops, required is going to be here of true, and minimum is going to be of 8 characters. So of course the description is usually 99% of the times longer than our title. Next, here we have likes. So again, the likes are going to be a type of an array of strings, so like this. And default is going to be initially an empty array, because when you post something, of course, it does not get instantly a like. And lastly, user ID. So every single post will have a user ID. This means that we can connect the user who created the post with this. So user ID type of a string required is going to be equal to true. So you know every single post have someone that posted it. So this is how we can connect the owner to the post. And then timestamps of true. So we know when the post was created and when it was last updated. And of course then we export the last step. So mongoose.model, post will be the collection name, and it will have the structure of the post schema. Okay, so this is for our post schema. The next one is comment. So here comment.js, and let's start. So const mongoose is equal to require mongoose. Then const comment schema is equal to new mongoose.schema. And our comment schema will have here a post ID, so we can connect each comment with the post that it was commented on. Then type is going to be a string, and required of course is going to be equal to true. Then user ID, so we can connect each comment with the post, but as well the person that commented, so the person that have created that comment. And type of string required is going to be equal to true. Okay, then comment text here is going to be a type of a string required of true, and each comment must have a minimum length of 4 characters. So you cannot make a comment that is less of 4 characters. And last, we are going to have again like, so each comment can have likes. So here again, a type is going to be an array of strings, and default initially is going to be here an empty array like this. And here of course we're going to provide the same, so timestamps is equal to true, so we know when the comment was created and last updated. And again we export it, so module.export is equal to mongoose.model comment schema. Okay, so this is for our models. We are ready with our models. The next part is making our controllers. So let's go here to the controllers and let's create our controllers. So auth.js, user.js, then post.js, and lastly user.js. Not user but comment.js, my bad. Okay, so I'm going to close here all the models and stuff that I have created, and let me open the Auth.js. This will be the first controller that I'm going to write here. So let's start. Const auth controller is equal to require express, and here dot router. This is how we get the controller. Then const user is equal to require dot slash models slash user. This is the model that we have just created, this one. So I can actually leave it open to see what I need to provide here. And then here I import bcrypt, which is used for hashing passwords. So when you want to register, of course, nobody stores the password. Like if you type 123 nobody stores the password like this. It encrypts it, or hash is the more accurate term. The person hash it in that database or the server actually, and it is unrecognizable. It looks like this. Of course not exactly like this, but my point is that it is completely unrecognizable, and bcrypt helps with that. And lastly, I'm going to import JWT, which is used for authentication and authorization, so we can know if the user has been actually logged in and if his token is not expired. Okay, the first controller that we're going to write here is with the post request, and it is on the endpoint of register, and it will be actually the register controller. So here async request response. And if you wonder why async, because every single interaction with the database is asynchronous. So when you interact with a database, you need to type here async. It is a must. Then a try catch block, because of course with asynchronous operations, you can get either a rejected promise or resolved promise. So if it's a rejected promise, here we go to the catch block, and here return response status 500.json error.message. Okay, and then we start. So we declare here the variable const is existing, require, not require, but await user.find1, and here we search if we have already such an email in our database, and if it's true, that means that someone have already used that email. So here we return response status 500.json message user cannot wait. I'm going to write here a new message. So email is already taken by another user. That's what I wanted to write. Okay, then const hashed password. This will be the variable with the hashed password. So await bcrypt.hash request.body.password, and we use here the sort of 10. This means how hard we want to hash our password. And here, of course, the first value is the password itself. And then we create the new user. So const new user is equal to await user.create, and here we spread the request.body, and we reassign one of its properties, which is the password, and we reassign it with the hashed password. So spreading the object like this is like writing each property like this. So you see how I've written this manually. So this is, you can escape writing manually each property with typing this. So if I remove this, I should write it like this. So email request.body.email, then username request.body.username, and you see how long and tedious this is. So I'm going to revert back to the 3 dots and request.body like this. Then before returning the user, I want to get the password away from the user. Even though the password that we store is hashed, I still don't want to return the password in whatever version it is. It is still bad for security. In here, new user ._doc. ._doc is basically the values that we have provided here. If I try to get them directly like this, they are going to be some Mongoose default things that we have not written, and they are going to mess up our operation. So here ._doc, it is basically the things that we have written here. And then we make the token. So const token is equal to jwt.sign for creating the token. Verify is for verifying it. So of course we need to type .sign. And here the first parameter is the payload. So id new user ._id. Then we need to provide the secret. So process.env.jwt_secret. And last is an object which has some properties, and the properties that we're going to use is expires in, which is basically how long we want our token to be valid. So here I'm going to specify for h, which means 4 hours. And of course here we have written this environmental variable which we have not declared here. So let's go. JWT_secret is equal to secret 1, 2, 3. Of course the secret here is for demo purposes. You want to have a lot longer and a lot more complex secret than this. So of course when you have a secret, make it very, very hard for someone to brute force it, because it's very bad for security. And then I digress. So the last part is here to return response status 201.json, and here user orders like this, we just reassign it, and here the token. Okay, so this is for our register controller. So I'm going to export my controller, and let's try our register. So Auth Controller, and I'm just going to import it, and we're going to try it here. app.choose on the route of Auth, and here Auth Controller, and we have successfully imported it. Okay, but you see here we use request.body 3 times. So you see here the request.body, we use request.body here on 3 separate occasions, and in order for our controllers to have access to our request.body here, I need to specify 2 middlewares, which are express.json and app.use here express.url encoded with the extended of true. So if you wonder what's a middleware, it is basically a function that runs before our actual controller. So when we register here, when we want to invoke the register controller, it will run first with those two middlewares and then it will actually go to the register, so you know. Okay, here Postman, we open here Postman to try if everything works. So if everything works correctly, it will return our user and our token. So let's try. Okay, so you see here post request to the route of auth and to the endpoint of register. So let's try here. I have already tried something before, so I'm just going to revert back to test one, and here you see password 123 123. So click send, and here everything works. So let me make this bigger, and you see here the user with the username, email, and here the empty arrays of followings and followers, and here that token, which is, you see, it is kind of long and very weird looking. So this is the JWT token. It looks like this. Okay, so our register works without any errors, which I'm very happy of. The next part is the login. So you know, when we have register, we have a login. So let's start. Auth controller dot again a post request login, and here again async request response, an arrow function, and a try catch block. So you see how it is. Here I'm going to copy the code inside the catch block just to not write it again. And let's start here with the login. So in the login here, const user is equal to await user.find1, and here email request.body.email. So here again we make a query to our database to see if we have such an email registered, but here the opposite is going to be the opposite. Here in the register we check if there is such an email registered and we throw an error. But here I'm going to do the opposite. So if we don't have that user, so this means that the email is not registered. So here I'm going to return. So return response.status 500.json, here message, and here will be wrong credentials, try again. Okay, so if we have passed the condition, that means that we have such an email in our database. But an email is not enough to be logged in. Of course, we need to check the password is right. So const compare pass is equal to await bcrypt.compare, and here request.poly.password and user.password. So the first parameter here, the request.body.password, is that password here. This is 123 123. Let's say this is an example. And the second value here that we provide is this long unrecognizable password that we get here. But actually I don't return it, but we can see it in our database. When I click browse collections, we're going to see, so users, and here you see this is a very long and unrecognizable. So I provided here 123 123, and you see from 123 here we get this long unrecognizable string. It is completely unrecognizable for me, and I think for 99.9999% of you, or 100% to be exact. So you see 123 123 is to this. Okay, so the first value is this 123, here the request.body.password, and the second value here is this. Okay, I'm going to remove this comment, and if it's false again, we're going to throw the same message here. So if it's a false value, the password is wrong. So here we throw the same. And here, if you wonder why the message is the same, this is because this is for security reasons. If you provide, let's say, a message, the password is wrong, this means that the email is right. So someone with bad intentions know that if the email is right but the password is wrong, he needs to only guess the password, and that's why I want to escape this scenario when providing the same message here. Okay, and then const password others. This means that we get the password away from the user object, and then again we make the token is equal to jwt.sign, here id user._id process.env.jwt_secret, and here expires in, and again I'm going to provide here, let's say how much I provided here for age. Okay, so 4 hours. And the last part is the same. So here we return, so return response.status of 200, which means okay, and here user or actually user, yes, others, and then the token. So let's try to log in. So you see that I have already registered with test1 and test1.gmail.com. So here I'm going to change the endpoint to login, and I'm going to remove the username because I don't need it. And here let's click send, and you see here I get the same thing. So our login works, but I want to try here the other scenario if the email is not right. So let's add here another character and click send. You see here wrong credentials, please try again. Okay, I'm going to remove this character, and here I'm going to try again. You see everything works, but let's say that the password is wrong. So here I provided this wrong character, click send, wrong credentials, try again. So this works correctly. Okay, so we are ready with this part. Let's go here to the user.js. Okay, let me close this here and let's start. So here we're going to import the user model. So require /models/user, then const bcrypt is equal to require bcrypt. We're going to need it. And here const user controller is equal to require express.router. And lastly, I want to import a function that I have not created yet. So const verify token is equal to require /middleware/verify token. So I suggest to you guys, before going on, let's make the verify token. So I want to make it here into the middlewares. I'm going to make verify token, and this middleware we're going to use all over our application, so you know. Okay, so const JWT is equal to require JSON web token, and here let's declare the function of verify token. So this function will check if we have already logged in, and if is the token legit. This means that if the token is wrong, is the token expired, and it will check all of that stuff. So let's write here the first condition. So if request.headers.authorization is a false value, here we're going to return response status 403.json message not authorized, no token. So what this means here, if you wonder, so we're going to store the token here into the request.headers, and here we're going to store it like this. So authorization, and here bearer, a space, and here the token. So let me log in actually here, and I'm going to get the token. So again, send. Here I'm going to copy the token, and the token is going to be pasted here. So you see here bearer, I make a space and I paste the token. So this is how the token will be inside the request. So it is inside the request.headers.authorization, and if this is empty, this means that not authorized, no token. This is what this means. Then the next step is if request.headers.authorization is truth value, this means that we have something. And if request.headers.authorization starts with bearer and a space, this means that it has this format. So a bearer and a space. And here, of course, we open the curly braces and let's start typing the code. So const token is equal to request.headers.authorization.split. We split it by the space, and you know, when you split something, when you split a string, you get an array back, and our string that we split is composed of bearer, space, and then the token. So we get then we get an array with the bearer and the token. So the token is the second element of the array. Let's get the second element of the array. So index 1. This is how we get the second element of the array. And then after we get the token, we verify it with the JWT.verify method. So the first value for the verify is the token itself, this weird thing here that is that big and weird looking. Then the secret, so process.env.jwt_secret, and here we get a third parameter, which is the error and the data. So here we get error and data. So if error is truth value, this means that here we return response status 403.json message wrong or expired token. And If that is a false value, this means that there is no error. If this is a false value, we have no error. So we reassign the request.user to the data. And if you wonder what this data means, it is, let me open here the Auth.js. It is this thing here that I written here as the first argument in the JWT.sign. So I'm going to go here, and data is equal to this thing here. So this is the data. And of course you see here this next function. The next function is the next function literally. So here, if I've written, let's say that I have written here the verify token, the next is this thing here in this context. So it is, oops, wait, I want to select it. So like this is the next function. And of course we want to go to the next function, and here we type next. Okay, so let me remove it. I'm not going to need this here. Okay, so this is for our verify token, and then we export it. So module.export verify token. Okay, we are ready with this function. So let's go back here to the user.js and let's start typing the code. So we have already imported our dependencies. Let's start. So first I'm going to write the comment. So the comment is here, get one. Then we're going to get all the users. Then we want to update and we want to delete. So this will be our controllers here. And lastly we have another controller which is for follow and unfollow. It will be one controller for the two actions. So let's start with the first one. So user controller dot get, because we want to get something from the database. So here /find /two dots user ID async request response, and here again a try catch block, you know guys, and here return response status 500.json error.message, and here const user is equal to await user.find by id request params.user id, like this. Then if user is false value, this means that we have not searched a user. This means that our ID is wrong. So return response status 500.json no search user wrong ID. And if you wonder what is this request.params, this is basically the thing here, request.params. And of course we have only one parameter here. So the parameter here is the user ID, and they must be with the same name. If I type here ID, I will not, this will be undefined. This must be an ID like this. But of course I want to name it like this. So user ID, and that's why here it is user ID. They must be here the same value. So if we have passed this condition, that means that we want to return our user. So of course before returning it, the same here, the same operation here. We get the password back. So user._doc, and then we return it. So response status 200.json user orders, like this. Okay, so we are ready with this one. Let's go here to the get all. So the get all is going to be kind of similar. So let's start. I can actually copy paste this. So let's copy and paste, and here we are going to check for all users. So here the first part is to change the endpoint, then here to change the method, the query to our database, which is going to be find, like this. And here I'm going to remove this condition, oops, like this. And here I'm going to format my users because I want to get the passwords away from each user. So formatted users is equal to users.map user arrow function curly braces, and here we return username two dots user.username, then email two dots user.email, and then the ID user._id, and lastly created at user.created at, like this. So this will be our four properties that we return, and then of course formatted users, and here we return it like this. So this is for the find all. The next one is update, which is going to be kind of complex compared to those previous two controllers. So let's start. User controllers dot put, and here user ID, update user ID like this, and here async request response. And you know, we imported this middleware here, so we need to provide it here, verify token like this. Then a try cache block. Here I'm going to copy again the code from the cache block and paste it. The next part is here. Before doing anything here to the try cache block, I want here to write a condition, which is if request.params.user.id, which is this thing here that we're going to provide, is equal to request.user.id, which comes from the middleware here, you know. If this is true, this means that we can update our user, because otherwise we cannot update other users. We can update only our profile. This is what this condition do. So, like this, and here into the else we're going to return response status 403.json message, and here the message will be you can only change your own profile. So this is the message, and of course if this is true, here let's type the code. So await, so not await, but if request.body.password. If this is true, this means that the user wants to update the password, because he can update the username, he can update the email, but if he wants to update the password, of course again we want to hash our password. That's why here I have imported bcrypt, guys, you know. Okay, so here request.body.password is equal to await bcrypt.hash request.body.password, and here the salt is going to be 10. This means again how hard you want to hash your password, and here the password itself. And then const updated user is equal to await user find by ID and update, this method exactly. So this method first wants the user ID, we provide it like this. Then it wants what values are going to be updated, so the request.body I'm going to provide it as a whole, so set, and here the request.body. And lastly here the last is new true. This means that when we update the user, we want this updated user to be our updated user. If I don't type this thing here, we're going to update the user nonetheless, but it is going to return the user before it was updated. So we're going to get the previous version of the user, and this doesn't make any sense. So that's why I leave it like this. And then we return, so return response status 200.json here, and here the updated user, we return it. Okay, so this for the update. The next is for the delete, so user controller dot delete, and here delete user ID, and here again I'm going to specify here the verify token middleware, and here async request response arrow function try catch, you know guys, we have done this. Again I'm going to copy the cache block code, and of course I'm going to have a condition here, because we want to delete the user, our own user, we cannot delete other users. So request params user ID is equal to request.user.id, and here again I'm going to wrap my code with this condition, and here the else is going to be here return response status 403.json message you can update only your own, you can not update, but here is the delete, so you can delete only your own profile like this. Then into the try block, it is just 2 lines of code. So user await user.find by ID and delete here request.params.user ID, and then we return response status 200.json. The message here is going to be the following: so user has been successfully deleted. So this will be our message. And then the last controller is the for follow and unfollow. This will be our biggest controller by far for our application. So let's start. We're going to learn something here. So user controller dot put toggle follow 2 dots under user ID. So toggle follow, toggle, if you don't know what toggle is the opposite. So if we have not followed the user, we want to follow it. But if we have already followed the user, we want to unfollow him. So this is what it means. And here, of course, verify token. async request response, and here a try catch block, you know, try catch block like this. Here I need to type it manually, I don't know why it doesn't pop up. So we have here a try catch block. Again, I'm going to copy the message here, or actually write it. So return response status 500.json message, or here not message but just the error.message like this, with this our catch code. And let's start. So const current user id is equal to request.user.id, then const other user id is equal to request params.other user id, and then we make a condition. So we cannot follow ourselves, guys. I don't judge people that follow our themselves, but we are not going to have this feature in our application. So if the user wants to follow himself, we're going to return here a response status of 500.json, and the message is here, you cannot follow yourself, like this. Then we continue. So const current user is equal to await user.find by id, and here current user id, then const other user is equal to await user find by id, other user id, like this. And here we make condition. So if we follow user, we want to unfollow him, otherwise we follow him. Okay, so here if we don't follow the user here, so actually if we don't follow the user, we want to follow him, otherwise we unfollow him. So this is what this means. So if we don't follow the user, so current user dot followings dot includes other user id, like this. Here we push it. So current user dot followings dot push other user id, and of course we push our id inside the other user. So other user followers dot push current user id, like this, and then we save them. So await current user dot save, await other user dot save. So if we don't follow the user, we push its id. This means that we follow him, and here we return a message, a response with a message, response of 200, message, you have successfully followed the user. And here the else, this means that we follow the user, so we want to unfollow him. So current user dot followings is equal to current user dot followings dot filter id, and here we return each id which is not equal to the other user id. Then other user followers is equal to other user dot followers dot filter id, and we remove the id which is equal to our own id, so current user id. This is what this means. And again, I'm just going to copy those 3 lines, because then we save the users, of course, after we make the change, and here you have successfully unfollowed the user. So this is, guys, for our user.js. We can go here to the index.js, and here we can import it. So user controller, but it does not pop up. This means that I forgot to import it, so to export it. So here we export it, and then we import it like this. So we have successfully imported it. Okay, so this is for our user. The next is for the post. So let's go here to our post.js, and let me remove those here. So for our post.js, we're going to import here again the verify token, our middleware. So require // middlewares / verify token, then const post is equal to await, not await, but require / models.post /post, and then const post controller is equal to require express router, and lastly, actually this is it. This is everything that we need to import. There's nothing else. Again, I'm going to make the comment. So get all, get one, create, update, and of course delete. This is for our post controller. So let's go with the first. The first is the getO. So post controller dot get, and here getO is going to be the endpoint. So async request response. I'll try cache block. The cache block message is here again the same. So return response status 500.json error.message. This is for our cache block, you know. And here const post is equal to await post.find. And this is it. This is just it. And lastly, of course, we return. So return response 200.json post. So of course, this is a very easy controller. As you see, we just have 2 lines of code in the try block. So the next one is to get one. So get one post. So post controller dot get slash find slash id async request response arrow function try cache block. And here again I'm going to copy the cache block code because I don't want to go too deep. You see, it is just 1 line of code. And here const post is equal to await post.find by id request params id, and here request params id because here it is id. If I rename it here to post id, here it must be post id, but here I'm just going to leave it like this. Then if we don't have post, if it's a false value, we return response of status 500.json, and here the message no such post with this id. Else return response status of 200.json post. This is for the get one. The next one is create. So let's go here to the create. So post control dot post, here slash again the verified token because we're going to need it, and async request response, and here a try cache block. So we're just going to create like this. So const new post is equal to await post.create. We spread the request.body, and here user id request user id, and here we return it. So return response status of 201.json new post, and here the same message into the cache block like this. The next is update. So let's go here to the update. So post controller dot put, here the id verify token again, we're going to need it, async request response, and here a try cache block. So for the cache block, you know, we just copy this line of code and paste it. And for the try block, here const post is equal to await post.find by id request params.id. Then we check if the post.user id is equal to our current user. We are going to update the post. So const updated post is equal to await post.find by id and update, and here request params id. Here I'm going to make it on a new line just for you guys to see it. Here $sign set request.body, and here again new to true, and here we return it. So return response of 200.json updated post. So here I see that I get an error. I'm not sure why here, because of the extra curly braces maybe, or yes, here I forgot, here after the request.body, here I forgot a curly brace, and here I have one extra. So here add the curly brace, and here remove this one. And of course else return response status of 403.json. Here the message is going to be you can update only your own post. Okay, and lastly the delete controller. So after the delete controller, we're going to go to the postman and try to make a new post and do all of the operations that we have just written. So let's continue. Const post controller dot delete, here again just the id verify token async request response, an arrow function, and a try cache block. So again the cache block, I'm going to copy this line of code and let's go. So const post is equal to await post.find by id request params.id. Then if we don't have post, we return response status of 500.json curly braces message no such post. Else if post.userid is not equal to the request.user.id. We return response status of follow tree.json. You can delete only your own posts, else we delete it. So await post find by id and delete request params.id, and here return response status of 200.json. Post is successfully deleted. So let's try to make a post. So here let's go to our postman. So post, but I almost missed one thing. I forgot to export it. So Mongoose.exports post controller, and let's import it. So post controller like this, and I'm going to open here the module just for me to know what we have here. Okay, so let's go here to post, and here let's create one. So title is going to be post 1, description is going to be desk 1, then, or actually this is it, our likes are going to be empty in the beginning, and user ID is going to be provided from our middleware. Yes, so this is it. So let's click send, and here we get the title and description, likes, user ID, and everything. Okay, let's try to update it. So how was the update here? Okay, so a put request, and I'm going to get the ID. So I'm going to change here the description to, let's say, description like this, and click send. Cannot read properties of no reading user ID. Where we are here, cannot read property of user ID here. Wait, why? So console log post like this, and I'm going to see what is the problem. So click send, again the same error of course, and let's go here. So it is no, the post is no find by ID. We cannot find it. Wait, I probably copied, I know why, because I have copied the not the ID of the post but my own user ID. Such a stupid mistake. So I'm going to create here a new post like this, and I'm going to get the post ID. So here, this thing here, so it will work. It's not a, it was not a mistake. So let's change here the description like this, something very long just for you guys to see that it is updated. So click send, and you see here it has been changed, so it is working. So this is working. Let's try here to get all. So okay, a get request, here get all, and let's click send, and here we get an array of two posts, post 1 and post 2. So you see this is working. And lastly here we have a get one. So slash find slash, and here the post ID. So let me get the, let's get the first post actually here, the ID, paste it, and here we should get one object which is the post 1. So click send, and here we get post 1. So everything is working. But actually we made everything here, but we have like and dislike too, right? So let's make it. I forgot to write the post for the like and dislike. Let's go. So post controller dot put like dislike, and here ID verify token async request response, and here an arrow function. And let's start. So a try catch block first, const current user ID. I'm going to get it as a constant here like this, and here let's get the post. So await post dot find by ID, and here request params ID, and here if post dot likes dot includes current user ID, we want to remove it. So if the user has already liked the post, remove it, otherwise add him into the likes array. So I'm going to make it on two lines like this, and here of course an else, and before going I'm going to copy here the catch block code like this. Okay, so let's start. So if we have liked the post, I'm going to go here to the post likes is equal to post likes dot filter ID and we want to get everything back that is not equal to the current user ID, and then await post.save and return response 200.json successfully unliked the post. And here into the else we have the opposite logic. So post.likes.push current user ID, and here return response status of 200.json message successfully liked the post. So like dislike here, like dislike here slash, and here put. So let's try if it's working. So click send, in here successfully like the post. So let's go here to our MongoDB. I'm going to refresh the page just for you guys to see that we have liked the first post. So posts, and here likes, and I forgot here to save it. Oh yes, I here forgot to save it, my bad guys. We should write here, we must write actually await post.save. So right now it should work. When I click send, again successfully liked post, I refresh, and here we're going to see it. So likes, and here is our user ID, and it is the same ID as the user ID because we have created a post and we have liked our own post. So it is ending with C51. Let me see which is, so yes, this is our user, so C51. So everything is working correctly, but I want to dislike it too, to remove my like. So send successfully unliked post. So if I go here and refresh, let me see, it's loading, and here let's see, so we have nothing. So this is working correctly. Okay, so this is for our post. Let's go here to our last controller, which is our comment.js. So let's start. So const verify token is equal to require dot slash middlewares slash verify token. Then const comment is equal to require dot slash models comment, and then const comment controller is equal to require express dot router. Okay, so here we get all comments from post, then get a comment, then create a comment, then update a comment, delete a comment, and lastly like unlike comment. Okay, so of course we first start with the first comment. So comment controller dot get here quotes, two dots, post ID, async request response, again try cache block, and here into the cache block return response of 500.json error.message, and here into the try block. So we get it. So const comment comments is equal to await post, await comment, actually not post, we don't need a post, find here post ID request params post ID. This is how we can get, because you see here into the comment.js, here we have post ID, so each comment is connected to the post that it is in. So we can get from a particular post every single comment like this, and here we return them. So return status of 200.json comments. Then we can get an individual comment, so comment controller dot get like this async request response, again a try cache block. I'm going to copy here this, paste, and let's go. So const comment is equal to await comment dot find by ID, and here the ID, actually we need here comment ID, and it's going to be here request params dot comment ID like this, and then we return it. So return response status of 200.json comment like this. The next one is creating the comment, so let's go. Comment controller dot post slash verify token like this. What I have imported, I am going to remove it, and here async request response try cache block, and here I'm going to copy this line of code here, and then const created comment is equal to await comment.create, we spread the request.body, and here I'm going to add the user ID, which is request.user.id from our middleware, as you know, this thing here. Okay, let me close the middleware, and then of course we return it with the response of 201, which means successfully created. Okay, the next is updating the comment, and of course in a comment you can update only the text. So let's go. Comment controller.put comment id verify token async request response, here a try catch block. Again, I'm going to copy here that line of code, and let's go. So const comment is equal to await comment.find by id request params.comment id. Then if we don't have such a comment, we return an error, so return response status of for 500.json, no such comment. Then if comment.userid is equal to request.userid, we are going to update it. Otherwise, return response of 403.json. You can update only your own comments, like this. And here, if it's true, of course, we're going to update. So dot comment text is equal to request.body.comment text, and then await comment.save, and here we return response status of 200.json. We can return just the comment, not a message, but the comment, like this. And here we can return actually the message here. So comment, and here message comment has been successfully updated. So this is for the comment. The next part is deleting the comment. So comment controller dot delete, here the comment id verify token async request response, and here again a try catch block. Going to copy this, paste it, and here const to await comment.find by id request params.comment id, and here if comment.user id is equal to request.user id, we're going to write here the logic for deleting the comment, or else return response.status 403.json, here message you can delete only your own comments. And here we're going to actually delete the comment, so await comment.find by id and delete comment, or actually request.params.comment id, like this. And let's return status of 200.json, and here message comment has been successfully deleted, like this. And lastly, we have here for liking and unliking the comment. So let's go. So comment controller dot put, here like, dislike, or unlike is basically the same. And here comment id verify token async request response. Let's copy this, paste it, and here const current user id is equal to request.user.id, const comment is equal to await comment.find by id request params.comment id, and then if comments.likes, if it's not because of this exclamation mark here, comments.likes.includes current user id, we're going to add it. So comment.likes.push current user id, and here await comment.save, return response of 200.json, comment has been successfully liked. Else we remove the like from the comments like array. So comment likes is equal to comment.likes.filter id, and we return everything that is not equal to our current user id. And here await comment.save, here return response of 200.json, here the message comment has been successfully unliked, like this. So we have here our post. Let's go here to comment. So create a comment, And here, of course, in the comment, we are going to specify here ID, user ID, and comment text. So let's go here to the post and let's go. So to the postman, comment text, first comment on post 1, then post ID. I'm going to copy here the post ID from the post 1, and then actually, do I have something else to type here? Comment. The user ID is going to be dynamically here. Wait, where it was? We're going to add the user ID here into the controller, so we don't need to type anything else, just the comment and the post ID. So let's go here to the comment, post, but of course again I forgot to export it. So control.exports, comment controller, and here app.use comment comment controller like this, and here right now it should work. So click send, and you see here post ID, user ID, comment text, likes ID, and yes, everything here works. Okay, so let's try the other controllers. Go here, the comments. Well, let's try here. We have tried the create. Let's try get a comment. So ID get, wait, how it was? So get and just the comment ID. So like this. Here get. So we should get our comment like this. So we don't get anything actually. Let's see why. Wait, comment by ID. Why we don't get it? Specify comment ID. Let me get the ID. If probably I have to copy something wrong, because I don't know why it should go wrong here when I look up the code. So here comments, I'm going to get here the ID, and here if we paste it, I get an empty array, which is interesting. So request.params.comment ID. Let me control here. Guys, the mistake was a very simple one, so let me go here. And here you see, here we get a get request with a dynamic URL, and here again a get request with a dynamic URL. And before the dynamic URL, we don't have anything. So when I query here like this, it is of course going first to this one because it's above the second one. So this is above this, and this means that it is going first to go to the get all comments from post before going to this. And that's why here I need to type here find and a slash, and here let me try here find and a slash, and let me go here to the MongoDB to get the comment here to test.comments. Let me get the ID, and here I'm going to paste it like this. So click send, and you see here it is working. Okay, let me try the other controller, which is this one. So to get the from the post. So we go here to the postman, and here you see here we have a post ID. So I can copy it, and here I'm going to paste it, and I should get an array of one object. So click send, and here you see here we get an array with the square brackets and one object with the curly braces. So this is working. The next part that I want to try here is the update a comment. So here let me get the ID of the comment, which is this thing here. Let me paste it, put request, and here I only can update the comment text. So the comment, I'm going to update it like this. So comment and some random characters like this. So click send, and you see here it has been successfully updated, and here the comment has been successfully updated. So this is working too. Then we have here to delete. So before trying to delete, I want to like and unlike the comment. So here I'm going to copy the ID, here like, dislike, slash, and here let's paste it like this, and click send. Comment has been successfully liked. Let me see here into the database if it's like that. So refreshing, retrieving list of database and collections. Come on, it's loading. It's going to, okay, so it's here, and let's see if we have the like inside. I don't know why MongoDB is that slow right now. Come on, if I refresh it again. Okay, while it's loading, I'm going to try again. So successfully unlike, this means that it works. I'm going to try again. Successfully liked. Okay. And here again, I'm not sure why it's loading. I'm sure that it works because here we get a different message. Come on, MongoDB. Okay, so here likes, and here it's our like here, so it is working. And the last part is deleting. So here with the comment ID, let's write, so like this, delete, in here click send. So comment has been successfully deleted. If I try again with the same ID, cannot read properties of user, no. So yes, it is deleted, so it is working. That's what I wanted to see. If I refresh, it shouldn't be there. So let's refresh, collections loading, and here we have nothing. So guys, this was the video. Please subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye.